Hey, everybody, welcome to Back Issues of Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So, a while back, we did Batman the Abduction from Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle.
I remember.
That was when you chose to use it, eh?
Yeah. That was my feelings on that book.
That was it? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. I mean, listen.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
The gun has spoken. Well, anyway, in 1998, Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle gave us this story about Batman getting abducted by aliens, kind of, and it turns out he didn't. Or maybe he did, who knows?
Right.
All that matters is Alan Grant wanted to make fun of Grant Morrison, and so he invented this character called the Kook, who took enough drugs that he developed psychic powers.
Yep.
And tricked people into thinking that they were aliens and stuff. But then Batman punched him so hard that the drugs came out of his system and he went to jail. And we never saw him again, or so we thought. Also, Batman was like, maybe I did get abducted by aliens. I don't know, though. And no.
Alfred, you tell me.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, because he had the thing in him, right? The implant?
The implant, yes.
Something.
Yes.
It's like,
now, this is, of course, capitalizing on the age-old, very 90s phenomenon of extraterrestrial alien theories and speculation and fandoms surrounding it.
Right.
Which, of course, includes the Greys and anything you've seen in X-Files seasons 1 through 2.
Yep.
But they did a sequel called Batman Dreamland, and so here it is from the same creative team, Alan Grant, Norm Brayfogle. This is very sad, and the reason why it's sad is because this is the last time that Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle will team up to do a Batman story ever.
oh.
They're both now passed, but also it's a 23-year-old book, 2 years after the abduction, which was already 4 years after the expiration date of talking about aliens and stuff. Not that people don't talk about aliens and stuff. I cite the phenomenon galvanized by Facebook of storming Area 51, which was, obviously
that worked great.
A cornerstone of American culture because it had such a huge effect on everybody. But we're going to Area 51. That's what the story is.
What?
Good.
Also,
It's aliens again?
yeah, it's a sequel to The Abduction.
Okay.
And a true sequel in every respect.
Wait, this says Dreamland.
Yeah, that's what they call Area 51. That is a nickname that is taken from actual call signs that the U.S. military used to describe Area 51.
Interesting.
There are a number of documentaries also made about it that are called Dreamland, because how could you not use such a eye-catching title like Dreamland? There are a number of euphemisms and nicknames for Area 51, but this is the one we're sticking with.
Right.
Because Alan Grant has such a last line that he practically wrote an entire effing book around it. I don't understand
I don't wanna
why
spoil it.
there is a
I can't
sequel to freaking Batman the Abduction, and it's the last time these two ever worked together.
Is the Kook in this one again?
Yeah, Kook comes back.
Okay.
And it's also the last time you ever see the Kook again. But we also introduce another villain for Batman who has also never been used again, named Tyzon. And Tyzon looks a lot like another character, but isn't. He looks a lot like Bronze Tiger, and I'm like, oh man, Bronze Tiger. Nope, Tyzon. New character, longer hair. And I'm like, but why?
Bronze Tiger and Tyzon
I
kind
know.
of sound similar. It's like an amalgamation of the two words.
It's weird. It's suspicious, let's say. But I can't believe 2 years later they're like, hey, remember that genre-defining Batman story we did about how Batman got abducted by aliens? No. Well, let me stop you right there because we're doing a sequel.
No, here's the thing. Everyone remembers it. No one wants it.
I don't think anybody remembers it because we have 3 copies right now, right here. People keep sending it to us like we didn't do
I
it.
don't think it made much of an impression.
It did not.
No, you know what it is? It's the mind powers. Everyone was mind wiped.
Oh, man.
Like, oh man, you didn't
As
do
you
the
were reading
abduction
it,
yet.
he
You're
was
forgetting
wiping
it.
your mind from the pages of the book.
Yeah. No, I think the book itself did that because it just made you forget it because of how bland and banal it
I think
is.
that was us hitting our head against the wall afterwards.
Yeah. So Batman is lurking in suburbia, watching this woman who is being interrogated by the police because her father has killed himself.
The idea of Batman hanging around suburbia.
Yeah. He's in a tree.
Yeah, he's not supposed
He's in
to
a
be
tree.
there.
It's not that dark out.
Yeah, no.
There's street lights everywhere, or street lamps. I imagine a cul-de-sac where he turns the wrong way and the Batmobile
crap.
has to do a
K-turn.
9-point turn to get out.
Yep. Batman does not belong in suburbia.
No.
He's trying. You can see him
He's
trying.
walking across rooftops.
I'm trying to expand my range.
The most he can do is like swing off a condo.
Yeah, it's not gonna work, man. I'm sorry. It's just not working. He doesn't interact with anybody. He just watches. He's here to observe. We could have had a scene where Commissioner Gordon explains all this to Batman in a more appropriate setting.
News.
Yeah, right. But we need Batman.
He gets down and dirty.
That's right. He's always in the thick of it.
Checks for himself. He's investigating something.
This Batman is also teeming with his classic I work aloneisms and gadgets. Batman's got like endless gadgets in this particular story, and I'm here for it because they are so quintessentially Batman, but also like, dude, where are you keeping them? Like, I never asked that question, but he has so many in such a short sequence of time. I'm like, that's a lot of gadgets.
Right.
So this woman, Miss Lewis.
It's like Lewis.
Yeah.
How could her name be Lewis?
Well, her last name
Mrs.
is
Lewis.
Well,
okay.
because there's a big reveal of what her first name is, and so I'm like, her name is Hal Lewis.
What?
Hal?
Because her father wanted a boy and loved 2001. So he named his daughter after the computer.
So he had a girl who's like,
computer's
you know
the
what?
enemy.
I'm going with Hal. It's just like, what? It's weird. It's what?
The computer's the enemy.
I know.
bad
Why
guy.
would you name your daughter after the enemy?
Well, from a
Name
certain
one
point
other
of
character from
view,
2001. Yeah.
Captain something.
Captain what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
David.
David?
David.
Oh, okay.
David, yeah. There you go, David.
Yeah, David. It's a woman!
Could have named her David. Oh, that doesn't help.
Hal is it? Oh no, Hal is also a boy's name and a prominent one in this universe.
Yeah. I thought he'd be a Green Lantern
Right.
fan.
My name's Hal Lewis. Oh, was your father a big Green Lantern fan? No. He loved 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh.
Oddly enough, they're both space-themed things.
That's true. But my question is her name Hal H.A.L?
Why wouldn't you just name her like Henrietta and the middle name Alice?
Oh.
Because then her initials are Hal.
Oh, because your last name already starts with L.
Yeah, that's great. That's way better. My name's Hal. That's what she says.
My name's Hal. All right. Weird.
I know, disappointing. So anyway, her father was a preeminent scientist who worked at Area 51. He has committed suicide, and she is protesting the Gotham City Police Department's assessment that it is a suicide. She's like, my dad would never do that. And Commissioner Gordon, who normally is like pretty open-minded and forgiving, is like, no, he did. I'm sorry. He's hanging from a noose on your front porch. Case closed. And probably because he's like, I've got to deal with like the Penguin. He's open-fired on a crowd of people with a freaking umbrella.
Yeah,
I don't have
this
time
is a case closed kind of
open
thing.
and shut. I don't want to have to another mountain of paperwork because Miss Hal Lewis just doesn't want to believe their dad was depressed.
Right. Like everyone.
Right.
Like they all say.
They all say that, and they're mostly all wrong,
Yeah.
unless you're in Gotham. Because here we are, where it's like, literally, she's like, no, my dad would never do this. He's like, I'm sorry.
And he worked at Area 51. Was that his current job?
Yeah.
Did he commute back and forth?
No, it's just that he had worked at Area 51, but then he came back unexpectedly, and then boom, he committed this horrible act.
Yeah, maybe because he realized his entire job was a lie?
What do you mean?
That aliens don't exist?
Oh, well, if he worked at Area 51, he knows that already.
If he worked at Area 51, his job has nothing to do with aliens because they just fly test aircraft.
In the real world, yes, but in 1995 or in the year 2000 when this book came out, Area 51 was almost certainly where they keep the bodies.
Right.
And the aircraft and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
Independence Day proved this to us.
It's true.
Practically a documentary.
Actually, Brent Spiner works there.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he really looks like. But yeah, so Batman's like, like, I know that my good friend and actual policeman, Jim, has ruled this a suicide, but I know better. So
My bat sense tells me that her hunch that it's not a suicide is correct.
Yeah.
I've never seen him harpoon away like that, and
Yeah.
it's one of the coolest images I'll see in this
Yeah,
book.
that's very
I
cool.
love Norman Fogel's Batman. It's so sleek and so stylized and so deliberate, and no one else rivals it. Like, not to say that he's the best, although I think he's one of the best for me personally, but I do just love the decisions he makes. They are not rooted in any kind of logic. It's just like, wouldn't it look cool if he did this? And I'm like, that's like practically Comics 101.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Wouldn't it look cool if he did this? Yes, you are correct. If you can pull it off. If you can't, it looks dumb. But if you can, then it's a little moment for us.
Fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing about this is that there are other scientists who also worked at Area 51 who also killed themselves in Gotham. And Batman's like, there's a pattern here, Jim. What are you doing? Like, this is like the third or fourth one.
It's like everything's a pattern. There's patterns everywhere. If you want to go looking for patterns, you'll find patterns.
That's literally it. Gordon says, they work for the same agency as your father. We've checked it out. Seems it's a mere coincidence. They were just all under a lot of stress. All 5 of them. Like,
Okay. Is his wife still alive at this point?
Gordon?
Yeah.
Which one?
That's a good point.
It doesn't matter. They're not
like,
thinking about it. It's
If
like
she believes in aliens, he's like, no, it's not aliens. No, it was suicide. It's
Yeah.
not a conspiracy.
I don't want to give my wife any leverage over me.
Exactly. I already have enough crystals in my house.
Yeah, dude. First of all, there are aliens. You've met them. His name's Superman. Secondly, he also uses crystals as a technology base. So I mean, come on. But I digress. So anyway, Hal wanders off and decides. I guess she goes to work or something. We're at her house, but then we cut to her going to her car in a giant parking garage. So I guess she's coming back from work. And Batman decides to introduce himself by saying from the shadows, "Don't be alarmed."
I've already
said
proved
don't.
myself. I'm sorry.
Don't be alarmed. It's just like, I know there's nothing you can say
Right.
when you're emerging from the darkness as a shadowy figure of the night on a unsuspecting woman alone in a parking structure that's going to calm her down. But, I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed. Ah!
Maybe show yourself first,
Right.
so it's not just a voice coming from nowhere.
Right, just stand there in the open light.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse.
I don't know.
That's true. It's all bad.
If you saw Batman
Just
standing
standing there
by your
looking
car,
at you.
I mean, you know who
be like,
Batman is,
yeah.
though.
Oh no.
Oh crap, what'd I do? Did I forget to pay some parking tickets or something? He's gonna beat me savagely. I don't know. But he's like, listen, I'm investigating your dad's death. I don't think it's a suicide. There's a coincidence. What's going on?
I believe you.
And she's like, my name's Hal, named after the computer. That's ridiculous.
I'm sorry, that's the most dumbest name I've ever heard.
It's not like an acronym or something? It's not your first name is Henrietta or something? No, my
Although
first
that
name's
would
Hal.
have worked.
That would have made more sense than just calling you Hal. It's weird that your father didn't think of that, but anyway. So she's like, tell me something. Do you believe in aliens? And he goes, I try to keep an open mind. And I'm like, nevertheless, I do work with several.
Right. And you should too, and you probably do too, because
point.
you've seen them on the news and stuff.
No, but like she believes in aliens because she thinks they killed her father because he worked at Area 51, you see.
Right.
So it's like, oh. And Batman's like, yes, there are aliens, but not the like stupid ones from X-Files. I'm sorry. But he doesn't say that. He's more like, I mean, I don't want to stress you out.
Yeah.
Batman wants to know, like, did he say anything that may lead me down this case? All I have is like your dad's name and where he worked in one of the most secure facilities in America. So what else do you got? She's like, well, he did work for a guy named Dr. Staines.
Did all the scientists who've committed suicide also live in Gotham?
Yes.
Why do so many
Area
Area 51 scientists live in Gotham?
It's not a plot point they bring up. It's just coincidence.
What about
very weird.
the scientists who work at Area 51 who don't live in Gotham?
They
Are any
didn't-
of them committing suicide?
I don't know.
None of them work at Area 51.
They're not
unless you live
related.
in Gotham.
Right? Like, is there a portal in Gotham that takes you directly to the building?
No, they all like went home around the same time and then killed
Because
themselves.
Area 51's in Nevada.
I know, and
It's
Gotham is at the very least on the East Coast.
Right.
So that doesn't mean that they lived in Gotham. That just means they have family in Gotham.
Well, they say they're from Gotham. They all have residences in Gotham.
Yeah,
like
so that's what they
roots
have
in
in
Gotham.
common.
Right, they
That
all
the other
live-
members of the Area 51 staff don't.
No, it's true. But they also apparently all worked for this guy named Dr. Staines. And so Hal also offers that her dad, before his passing, drew a bunch of maps from Area 51. And Batman's like, maps of Dreamland? And you're like, all right, well, you don't need to call it Dreamland. Like,
Yeah, why would you call it Dreamland?
because the book's called Dreamland and people don't know.
That's the name of the book.
Yeah, well, and also, like, does everyone know that Area 51's called Dreamland? I'd say
didn't.
no. Most folk didn't. I didn't originally. I was like, Dreamland? Oh, geez. Then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay. Then they get attacked by a giant gorilla
Sweet.
because monkeys sell comics. The gorilla, like, beats the shit out of Batman. It, like, breaks his arm, and he's like, I've broken my arm. I don't know what to do.
So we broke it for the rest of the book?
No, it's not.
What?
So Batman hits it in the eyes with like a flashbang grenade, and ultimately he hits it with some like sleeping gas, and when it passes out, it disappears, and his arm is healed and fine. And he's like,
Oh.
I've been drugged. Like, I have had a hallucination of something really scary. That naturally leads me to my old nemesis, the Kook. And I'm like, naturally, this leads you down
Right.
the rabbit hole of the Scarecrow or Poison Ivy
Or Mad Hatter.
No, this felt more like the kook. I just got
the Kook.
kooked.
Like, so what you're essentially saying, because the Kook, when he was apprehended, was brought to Arkham. So he's been there the whole time, and I'm like, so you're saying that all these other psychotropic-based Batman villains didn't, like, shiv the Kook and take all of his knowledge for themselves and then implement them into their schemes because he's nobody and they're somebody, and
He's still around.
like he's just been hanging out in Arkham.
Look,
Unlike the others, he doesn't break out constantly.
That's right.
yeah, he's a model inmate.
Which he easily could because he has these powers, although the powers are drug-based.
Right. If they
but-
take away his drugs, he has no power.
Exactly. But he does have some latent psychic ability as a remnant from the drugs that he
Right.
took. Call them like flashbacks or something.
Yeah, every time he cracks his back,
Yeah, he's like,
people
oh!
have crazy nightmares.
So Batman's like, all right, well, they released the Kook, so I will go and get him.
I'm sorry, they released him?
Yeah, well, eventually he got enough therapy. I mean, Arkham Asylum
they
isn't really
fixed
a
him?
prison.
Yeah. He's fixed.
Yeah, he's all better.
Some doctor cleared him.
Yep. I mean, they always do.
Okay, so if Batman knew that the Kook was recently released, that might explain why he jumped to the Kook. Like, you
Yes.
could say that, like, it's probably the Kook because I happen to know he was just let out.
And he does this. Like, this is a
Right,
move
and
of
this
his.
meets his MO, so it's probably not the Scarecrow. That would be a weird coincidence.
It would be a weird coincidence. But also, like, it's been at least 2 years in real time for when anyone has even referenced the Kook.
Right.
Because Lord knows no one was clamoring on message boards in 2000 for a resurgence of this character.
What if it wasn't meant to be a gorilla and it was meant to be Sasquatch?
Yeah, right? Like, it's all conspiracy theories. Everything that you could possibly, like, believe in that is demonstrably fake is going to be referenced in this. We're going to have Nessie show up. The Kook is freaking out already on the floor of his apartment. And Batman shows up and he's like, all right, but Kook's real name is Franklin Selly. So he'll call him Selly usually, but he's like, Selly's on the floor freaking out, and Batman's like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, Batman, yeah. And he goes, well, don't play innocent with me because I know that you're doing. And it's like, what you asking for, man? What's your problem?
Don't be alarmed. I've come here to beat you up.
Well, he was freaking out, so I had to make sure he was okay before I grabbed him.
That's exactly what happens.
I can't grab a crazy person. That's
No,
not.
that would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
But now that I know he's okay.
But he said he was okay, so it's.
So he grabs him and he's like, I was just attacked by an 800-pound gorilla, and it has to be you. And he's like, yeah, it was me. I was like, well, that was the easiest interrogation Batman's ever experienced. But he's like, yeah, man. And then we see, like, across the street at the adjoining apartment is a number of conspicuous antennae sticking out of the building. And you're like, okay.
Why are there so many?
Batman says that later. He's like, why are there so many goddamn antennas up there?
I don't know. It's a big apartment complex, and
Yeah.
lots
Everyone
of
has
people
their
have
own?
TVs.
Maybe they all want cable.
Yeah.
Or satellite TV. But anyway, so we see that's happening. It's indicating that everyone who had been affiliated with the Area 51 situation is under observation. He tried to resist using his powers because he is trying to be rehabilitated, but something was forcing him to do it, and so he's been puppeted by someone. Perhaps he has an implant. He doesn't say that, but obviously that's what's happening. So Batman's like, well, it sounds to me like you should still be in Arkham. And it's
Yes.
like, and he goes, yeah, I guess I probably should. I mean, that's fair.
You know what? That's a good deduction. Thank you.
Yeah, but I was deemed sane by Dr. Staines. And Batman's like, Staines?
What?
Staines doesn't work in Arkham, and I just learned his name like earlier today. And so Batman notices the antenna, and so he goes across the street, and we see these men in black, and they're like, we've been made! Hit the
my
self-destruct
God.
button. And I was like, oh, cool, the self-destruct button. I assume that would trigger like an explosion. So when Batman breaks through the window and interrogates these guys, all they have to do is give them the slip, and then like the top floor of this apartment complex will explode. No, this button causes all of their equipment to melt.
Oh. I was
Because
gonna say it was gonna like wipe the hard drives or whatever.
that would make sense too, but
Yeah,
no,
but
they
no, they
literally
melt.
melt. And they are also being defended by Taizan, who appears and just punches the shit out of Batman.
Oh.
And Batman's like, whoa. And so when that happens, all their computers explode, and Batman's like, well, great. I've got no evidence to go on. So,
Good job.
Yeah.
Just crashing in there. That was definitely the way to go.
I mean,
I
usually,
love the fact that Taizan punched him once in the back of the head and then ran.
Yep. Just totally donkey punched him.
So I can't beat Batman in a straight up fight.
But if I use the element of surprise.
Right.
I mean, if I just
And
punch
get
him
one
as hard
hit.
as I can. He's like 9 feet tall and like 400 pounds. If I just punch him hard enough with my brass knuckles in the back of the head, he'll die.
Don't be alarmed, Batman.
So Batman returns, no pun intended, to Sally's apartment, where they are both met by Hal, who arrived a few minutes earlier, but plenty of time enough for her to unveil all of the maps that her father had drawn up of the facility at Area 51. And Batman's like, what's this? Do you know each other? And Sally's like, not until 5 minutes ago. Like, she literally just barged into my house and dropped all these maps off. She's like, yeah, like, I am an admirer of Dr. Sally. I know him, or I know of him, thanks to my dad. And so I thought he might be involved, coincidentally. And so she showed up with all of her dad's, like, exposition maps that Batman will need to use in order to infiltrate Area 51 later.
It's awfully coincidental.
It is indeed, but that is not the coincidence we are meant to focus on.
Right. Do we get an explanation for why Sally was making Batman see
Gorillas?
a gorilla?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. But essentially, Sully is being manipulated by the true
right,
antagonist of the
right.
story.
It's like, I didn't have a choice.
Exactly. He had no choice.
Okay.
The government.
Yes, the government.
Right.
That's what the story's kind of about. So Batman's like, these maps are kind of useful. Do you mind if I photograph them and then have them printed at my cave and then use them? Just take them. He's like, I'll photograph them. They are technically your property, and I am nothing if not respectful
I don't want
of your
I don't want them. I'm
belongings.
surrendering it to you.
Yeah.
Just take
Here's the
them.
thing. Your maps are crude and terrible, but the special camera I have is going to sharpen up all the images and make it nice and clean.
Yeah, essentially that's what he does. And so Sally is like, hey, Batman, this woman's dad is dead as a result of this case. I myself being manipulated by it. I think that we should team up. We'd probably be better off together than apart. And Batman's like, that's a good point. And then he leaves without them.
Yeah, I'll
Fair.
go. That's a good
But,
point. I'm going to go
you
find
have a date with
Superman.
Arkham.
Right. Yeah. Turn yourself in. So Batman leaves and he goes to Nevada. And he parachutes down into the desert along with a dope-ass desert Batmobile.
That
Nice.
thing is so ridiculous and cool.
I
Got like
love
feathers
it.
coming off the back or something.
There are wings.
Oh, okay.
People talk about like what might be behind these walls, like genetic experimentation, aliens, top secret, technology.
All of those things are happening in Gotham right now.
Literally,
all of them.
Go to the North Pole and talk to your alien friend who is using untold alien technology right now.
He'd be like, oh yeah, Area 51? It's nothing to worry about.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I just tell you what I see over there? That's nothing. Just a bunch of.
Don't worry about
just
it.
a bunch of old aircraft.
know
They're
what it
about
is?
30 years behind
It's a whole lot of
you.
servers. They hold all the secret government files and porn.
Right. It's just a lot of. It's more porn than you could possibly imagine. So Batman then uses his dope car to drive close enough to.
From the landing zone up into a spot, and then he covers it.
Yes, with a
Yeah,
camouflage.
you can't drive a vehicle into Area 51. They'll detect you.
That's right. That's right.
And you can't apparently just drop into Area 51 from a plane.
No.
Well, no, they would
they'll-
pick up the plane on radar.
Yeah, he's got to sneak in. And
So he had to parachute well outside the perimeter.
yes. So Batman arrives at the fences of Area 51, and then he sees like this crazy ball aircraft thing that flies by him, and he's like, what is that? A black budget research craft? Holographic projection? Aliens? But no, like it never comes up. By the way, it just floats by.
But it's aliens.
oh, it's definitely aliens though.
What is the idea behind if there's aliens at Area 51, they'd be flying around?
That's-
I thought it was that there was like bodies
Yeah.
from the or did they like live there?
Right.
And just like chill with like US military
Well,
people
if you watch
and like
Paul or the X-Files, it's both.
right.
There are like aliens there who are like filing things and smoking cigarettes.
Right. Okay.
So Batman zip lines into Area 51, or at least past the first gates.
Right.
And while he's sneaking in, Sully and Hal are in a Jeep driving up, but they are being disguised by Sally's latent psychic powers as two different people who are generals in the army who have presidential orders to go to Area 51.
is this part of Batman's plan, or are they separately doing
they
this?
are.
No.
They're going
Coincidentally,
rogue.
He said
they're
he
at the
was
same
going
time.
alone.
He was like, I work alone. F that.
And they're like, we'll see about
Well,
that.
we're gonna board a plane and fly to Nevada, whereupon we will procure a jeep.
A military Jeep.
Yeah, a military
Right.
Jeep, by the way.
Unless that's also a projection.
Right.
Maybe it's a Kia.
It could be. It could
Maybe.
be.
That would make more sense.
We never see the Jeep again, so it doesn't matter. But we see these two have managed to get through the outer perimeter via their subterfuge. Then they also talk about like bullshit that they care about. Hal is, of course, obsessed with the idea that aliens killed my dad. So she's like, do you think we're going to find aliens? And Celia is like, look, there's a very strong likelihood that there is no alien stuff in Area 51.
Right.
And he's really sad for her. Like, you can see on his face, his fake, alternate projected face, that, like, he doesn't think there are aliens, but, like, maybe we'll find out.
Right. He's like, I convinced a lot of people there were aliens,
In the
so
last
I have
story?
some authority on this. Like,
I can
there
tell you
are no
there aren't.
aliens.
It's kinda
except for all the ones that everyone knows about.
Right, yeah.
There's
there
no
are Martians.
secret aliens,
Yeah,
though.
there's
Yeah.
no X-Files aliens.
Right.
How great would that be if, like, it was just Martians?
Right. That'd be fun.
Like, those are the bodies.
Exactly.
And it's, like, all John's people.
Yeah. Or the White Martians. I think they did something like that, but... Anyway, so Batman sneaks across the ground. He's trying to avoid detection. Lewis's map that he took pictures of indicated that there were carbon dioxide like detectors in the fields between the first gate and the facility. So he has to wear a special respirator that will disguise his carbon dioxide that he breathes out.
Oh.
And as he's walking,
He should just bring a plant with him.
well, as he's crawling by, he actually hooks the machine on a cactus, and it springs a leak. So he's like, ah, shit. Batman crawling on his hands and knees across the ground, wearing a respirator, carrying a duffel bag, which has a giant EMP machine in it. It's just, I love this visual of Batman just being like, I've got to be prepared. Can you imagine how unintimidating that is? If you were like to find Batman and he's wearing a gas mask, he's got a goddamn duffel bag from like Dick's, and it's just like, what are you planning, Batman? Looks like you got big plans tonight.
Well, that means he should have like 3 or 4 other devices as backups for when the EMP also fails.
Yeah, it's just like there's no.
That's like what those Batman impersonators in
Dark Knight
would be doing. Is,
Yeah.
well, I gotta have a duffel bag because realistically, you can't just like carry all that shit Batman would have.
That's right.
Like if he were a real dude.
Yeah, it's just we're really abandoning the urban myth version of Batman. Like, this is a guy, and sometimes he is not prepared.
Yeah.
You know, it's a.
I mean, he has an
from-
EMP. Do you have an EMP?
Right, but he did have to lug it. It wasn't like he has a miniature EMP that he
Yeah.
pushes a button on and it like only triggers everything around him and
That
not stuff.
that's so that you can't just say if Batman can carry an EMP in
Why
a
does he use it all
little
the
thing,
time?
why does he use it all the time? Because like no, it's only for special missions. He's got to lug it. And
That's
it's
right.
It's a difficult thing.
It's heavy and he only has one.
Yeah.
You know, and it's broken after he uses it.
And he uses the gas mask for all of 3 panels.
I know.
And then it just tears.
It tears like, oh shit. Well,
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
Plan
I
B.
wasn't paying attention.
EMP. Kadoom. That's why he carries all this shit, because some things are going to break.
He's got to have backup plans.
He thinks to himself, oh, the best laid plans of bats and men. I'm like, all right, Batman. I'll let you have it.
Just any phrase, just swap out one word for bat.
It's mice and men. So like him replacing mice with bats, they're both small rodents. Like, I get it.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's also saying Batmen
Yeah.
in his sentence.
Right. But also, the EMP will only knock out their electronics for all of like 1 minute. So he starts the countdown from the EMP. I'm like, no, you fried the electronics. They're out until they replace them. But this is around the time when not everybody knew what an EMP actually did. If you guys ever encountered this, like watching movies, like at what point did movies stop having a character who explained what an EMP was? Like I remember very vividly like noting every single time a character would say, oh, they have an EMP. Oh, an electromagnetic pulse that knocks out all the blah, 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 blah. And it comes from, we discovered it via detonating a nuclear device. Like, yeah,
Right.
we all know what an
Yeah.
EMP is at this point. You literally cited that we've been using them essentially since World War II. Like,
Yeah. Someone in Hollywood was like, that's enough. We're not describing it anymore. They get it.
They get it. But like,
Yeah.
but for the longest time,
It took a while.
there was somebody in Hollywood going, oh, make sure there's a line in there.
Wait, EMP? What was that?
Yeah, what? Whoa, 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 Mr. Scientist. You just,
All these crazy acronyms you're using.
yeah,
I've
you're
never
just
heard
whipping
before.
them all out.
I think they finished after Broken Arrow.
Right. No, no, they kept going. I promise you. Broken Arrow is a movie about that, more or less. So it's like, yeah, that should be the last time we need to explain what an EMP is in Hollywood. But I promise you, it isn't. So Batman's like, all right. So he does the countdown, and
does he set a watch? He's got like a timer.
no, he doesn't.
He's got the timer in his
I've got
brain.
63 seconds until they cycle the power.
It's all in his brain. So while Batman sneaks in, of course, Sully and Hal are also breaking in.
Right.
But they're just walking through the door.
Like, oh crap, the power went out. That's weird.
Yes.
Okay.
Which also helps them because, they're like, oh, we can't radio down to confirm, like, your surprise inspection.
Oh.
So they go down.
Oh, good thing that random power outage happened right when we were trying to sneak in.
Exactly. So Batman, like, just jumps down a convenient vent.
Yeah, that's a tube.
Yep.
It's another tube he goes in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we meet Dr. Staines. And Dr. Staines is just Grant Morrison again. And I'm
Again?
like, what is it with you, Grant? Or Brayfogle? Like, what are you doing with this Grant Morrison setup? And why?
I don't like him.
And why both of them, both Batman abduction stories are Grant Morrison send-ups, where the villain just looks like Grant and is on drugs or is doing psychotropic experimentation. Like, I'm just like, what the hell is going on? I appreciate that, like, Alan Grant also comes from the British invasion alongside people like Moore and Morrison, but, like, I don't recall there being any weird animosity such that we need to make sure that there are two references to him that are completely irrespective of each other.
In the previous book,
Yeah.
Sully
Doesn't look like Grant Morrison.
No, but he doesn't look like Grant Morrison. The kook looks like Grant
Yes,
Morrison.
his projection
Sully
of the
is
kook.
the kook. It's
Yes.
a projection.
Yes.
Right.
But he didn't know Dr. Stain at the time.
No.
And then he meets Dr. Stain. He should be like, wow, I had a projection that looked exactly like
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
he
should be
should.
suspicious. But he didn't have a rosacea or whatever, so, it's completely different. So we see that Stain is essentially using the power of persuasion. It's really actually the power of the implants they put in these people to do things for against their will, which includes like driving a needle through their own hands. We also see that.
Tazon is there, and he has what look to be World of Warcraft orc gauntlets.
Yeah.
Orc pauldrons.
Yeah. He's a very complicated looking character, but he also, of course, remembered his ID tag.
I mean, you gotta have it on.
But
You're
like
an Area
on,
51.
They won't let you
on your
in.
supervillain costume? It's like, look, doors are doors. They don't care what affiliation you have. So
I
Batman.
don't have this on me. It doesn't open.
So Batman swoops in. I also should point out.
Swoops? No.
It plummets. But
It's following with style.
this short, prestige-bound mini comic basically has chapters, like they all do, and I'm just like, what? The chapters have 4 pages between themselves.
Yeah, and like they barely mention it's just one little box that
Yep.
says it's a new chapter. Like
Right?
you don't
Like
have to
chapter
do that.
1, the first page, the threat.
This is like one of those second grade reading books. Oh, I read 3 pages. Time for a new chapter.
Time for a new chapter, or a Harry Potter book.
Look at this. Look at how many chapters I've gone through. Man,
Yeah.
I'm really reading.
I'm booking through it. Look, it works. Okay, that is good.
Well, they can market this as a chapter book now.
It's true. Maybe there's something different about tariffs, where it's like, oh no, there's a tax bracket that goes into chapter books versus comic books or graphic novels. Chapter 2, Into the Mystic. Chapter 3, Going Underground. These are just literally things he's doing.
It's very creative.
Chapter 4, Batman beats the bad guy. Like
Batman
all right.
wins. Chapter
So-
4, the end.
So Batman is infiltrating. He's doing a way better job than the other two because when they
Well,
do,
he's Batman, so he
well,
should.
that's true. So Sally and Hal, as their alter egos projected by Sally's latent psychic abilities, are being led through. One of the intrepid members of this team is like, "Okay, well now it's time for you to do your retinal scan."
I'm sorry, what?
Hey, so I can't fool the retinal scan. And she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's, "Wait, I got it." And then he makes them both invisible, but they're looking at them. So they just go, "Oh, well, bloop,"
What?
and they go, "What?" And then
That's awesome.
Hal goes, "What happened to us?" And he goes, "Shh, quiet." And they're like, "What are you doing? We can hear you. You better make yourselves visible, or we'll just shoot.
We'll just
where
shoot
you
into
the
the
sound
thin
is
air.
coming from."
Yeah. Oh no! Please don't.
So then they do. They do fire in the air to show they mean business, which I'm
Right.
like, you're in an underground facility, man. Like, don't fire into the air.
Yeah. What?
Look, if
you
I
might
have
hit
to fire
someone
in the
through
air,
that
I'm gonna
wall.
fire something. I can't make. I'm not gonna bluff.
Right.
Yeah, but you might hit a person.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
So,
No, it's gonna go in the ceiling or a wall or something. It's fine.
Yeah, there's people behind those walls.
Okay, those walls are like solid.
trust me, it's fine.
not
It's
just
bulletproof so
drywall.
that we can fire warning shots without any
Yeah, you
repercussions.
can see all those other shots where we've done that before?
It has to be very secure. It's an underground base.
That's right. So they just poof. Okay, well, sorry.
Okay, you got it.
All right, well, we're going to jail.
You're not going to jail. We're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
You're gonna disappear.
Yeah, again, but like for real this time. Batman's just watching from the vents, like, son of a bitch. What the hell's wrong with these people? Why are you doing this?
Like, why didn't you just run when you were invisible so that they wouldn't know where you are?
Yeah. So they're brought before Dr. Staines. Dr. Staines is like, hey, like, oh my God, it's Sally. Who's the chick you're with? She's like, my dad was Dr. Lewis. He's like, oh. She's like, well, it's fine. Show me the aliens that murdered my dad. He's like, aliens didn't kill your dad. You know,
Your dad committed suicide.
Your dad committed suicide.
What are you talking about?
She's like, no, he would never do that. He's like, well, if he didn't want to kill himself, then I guess it would have had to have been the work of a powerful psychic that was nearby, like Sally. And she's like, what? And Sally's like, what? And he goes, well, I'll leave you two to think about that while I go off and do actual experiments. And so he walks away, and she's like, you killed my dad? He's like, probably. I'm sorry. She's like, don't talk to me.
Well, I didn't mean to. Someone's controlling me and making me do it.
I'm like, what is this?
What is happening?
Why are we creating intrigue and like duplicity in this? Oh no! What if Lewis doesn't like Sally? You know, they seem to be chums earlier, and now she doesn't like him very much.
What if Sally, who was a bad guy in the previous book,
Was actually still a bad guy?
yeah, what if it didn't turn over to a leaf?
Yeah, but
well.
no, you could tell because of how earnest Sally is in his remorse that like he definitely did not mean.
Right. It
kill
wasn't
anyone.
intentional.
It wasn't unintentional.
He has turned over a new leaf.
That's right.
You could trust him.
Yeah, you could try because Arkham Asylum is a really effective institution.
Right.
as
Okay,
you can
but I
tell.
still don't care though.
So Batman's like, what a bunch of friggin' idiots. Anyway, so he's scurrying around.
Anyway,
He's-
you're not my problem.
Yeah, so he looks through the vent, and then he sees a good old-fashioned Fox alien autopsy.
Oh my god.
And he's like, real disinformation dummy? Who could care?
Why would it be there? What?
What? Oh, and by the way, don't forget to clock in and do a fake alien autopsy at like
Just in
9.
case anyone has cameras running.
Anyone's like sneaking around the vents and put up appearances.
You never
what
know.
a shit job. Can you imagine? I'm the doctor. I'm a doctor. I guess you wouldn't need a medical degree in order to perform a fake autopsy.
No, but how great would it be if they're like, all right, let's see what the boys in the lab came up with today.
Yeah, let's see what kind of what secrets they've unlocked from our
Okay.
fake alien autopsy.
So, this is a new one. Oh, this one's a little taller than last time. Let's see. Let's open up its chest cavity.
Whoa.
3 hearts. Wow.
Oh, wait, this
Wow.
one's filled with candy!
Yay!
Oh, you guys didn't know it was my birthday, did you?
Oh,
Oh, we have
Little
fun.
candles come out.
yeah. Well, you check the rectum, see what's going on in there. A cord. I mean, like, it's
Hey,
just,
what's this handkerchief doing in here? Oh!
your tax dollars at work.
Look, I've been doing alien autopsies twice a day
For the last 6
3
years.
You gotta mix it up a little bit or you go
gotta, or you
crazy.
go
I need a
crazy.
break.
But it does pay a hell of a pension. So Batman just like is like, I can't think about that right now. So he breaks into like a computer and he finds all the conspiracy theories. Like literally, he's UFO groups, abductees, infiltrators, Mount Shasta. He's pulling
Oh,
up
face on Mars.
He's pulling up the face on Mars. He's pulling up elf mind experiments. He's pulling up the HARP, the high frequency active oral research.
yeah.
Which he's like,
Oh, yeah, the sound that'll make you poop.
the idea of ionizing the atmosphere. I'm just like, so just throwing them all at the wall.
Yeah.
Here they all are that I could find on AOL, and there they are. And he's just like,
Oh, a super maneuverable electromagnetic disc.
yes, like that's their, they're the UFO. That's like the only thing that might actually be at Area 51 is like an actual aircraft being built.
Right, with schematics and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only thing, and even then, it's not this. So then he tries to pull up the only thing he's actually looking for, but he is downloading all of it for
Right.
research later.
Yeah.
Robin, listen, I know you're like a computer nerd and stuff. Check out this shit I pulled from Area 51. Dreamland! That's right, old chum. Yeah, Batman and Tim Drake are just huge conspiracy theory nerds. Like for Tim's birthday one year, they go to Washington and they look for Bigfoot. That should be like the third unofficial sequel of this story.
I can see that.
I would write that in a heartbeat.
I'm just so curious. What are they hiding?
No,
you know, Batman,
it's like a father-son
Robin?
trip.
Yeah.
They're like, let's look for Bigfoot.
Let's figure out how people are trying to fake the clues, but also see if we can actually find him.
The book writes itself. Batman and Robin in the
Pacific Northwest.
in the Pacific Northwest looking for Bigfoot. You know what happened? They go there, right? They go on like a camping trip, but of course they brought their Batman and Robin suits, and they meet up with some like very conspicuous red herring character who's in the woods with them. Maybe he's like a douchey hunter or some kind of real estate developer who's looking to mess up the land. And then they go and they he's got like some kind of supervillain in his employ. Not a named supervillain, it has to be a made up bullshit new character that they invented for this. But he's like big and kind of hairy, and so he looks like he could be Bigfoot. And he's meant to basically scare people away, like devalue the land. And then Batman and Robin like
Scooby-Doo.
yeah, it's Scooby-Doo. I mean, more or less, right? But then, of course, at the end, Batman and Robin are both waylaid by this big monster, and then like actual Bigfoot shows up and beats their ass, while Batman and Robin are hazy. Maybe Robin sees it, so that then Batman is like, who knows what's out there, chum?
No one would be interested in Bigfoot if they were in the DC universe. They'd be like, yeah, I'm sure there is something out there.
There is a literal city of gorilla men.
Yeah.
In
Probably
the DC
one of
universe.
them.
That's way more interesting than if there is a missing link man-ape roaming around.
I love that he's just looking at these screens and he's downloading the data. It would be amazing if it was just like Robin's looking at the file and it's like, these are just like JPEGs. This is just like 6 JPEGs of like a screen that looks like it's got lots of data on it. There's nothing behind this.
No. Yeah.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
You can't read the text. And it's 2,000 JPEGs. The resolution on those things.
Oh, what's that fake language that just put in when you're creating a fake article and weird
lorem
Latin
ipsum.
Yeah, lorem ipsum.
Yeah, that's stuff.
Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't take time to.
No, I
actually
didn't
read
actually
when I was
look at
there.
it.
Yeah, I was just looking at the pictures of the. I just saw shapes.
I just saw a UFO and
I just saw the images. I mean, once I saw the face.
Look,
on
the
Mars,
face on Mars.
I was convinced.
Yeah.
How could you fake that? So anyway, Hal is yelling at Sally. She's like, "I can't believe you murdered my father." It's literally a line in the book. And so they're trying to talk to each other, and then Batman appears behind them in a vent. And he's like, "You fools!"
Don't be alarmed.
No.
I wish he had. Because Sally still does have latent psychic abilities. They strapped him to a chair that, if he uses his psychic abilities, will electrocute him.
Oh.
Yeah. That way
Yikes.
he doesn't project that the door's open or whatever.
Right.
And so.
If he just thinks a little bit, does it just tingle?
Yes. It's like.
Hey.
Hey. So it's just as long as he's conscious, there's a low-level current running through his body at all times. But
No
Batman's
deep thoughts right now.
No. So Batman's like, I'll be back. Good luck with this. And then we see
Help
that.
us. No.
No. Look, I will, but not right now. Stain is observing all of this via closed-circuit TVs. So
He doesn't see Batman though, right?
no, he sees the Batman's talking to them. He's like,
really?
He hears it.
Also, why wouldn't they have cameras in the vents?
Exactly.
Oh, they would.
No. So Stain knows that Batman's going to his private office, and Batman's like, it's over. They caught those two. They're gonna catch me eventually.
Yeah, they're
Screw
on high
it.
alert.
So he just blows the door, of Stain's office. I don't have to sneak anymore.
Right.
Just blows open the door, downloads all the info he needs from Stain's personal computer, and then uploads it somehow, because Wi-Fi didn't exist in 2000, to his car.
Oh. Well, Batman has Wi-Fi.
Yes, Batfi. And so that gets uploaded along with all the other information he needs, and then old Tyzon does that classic move of his, where he sneaks out of the darkness and punches him in the head. Just bonks him.
How is he able to get the drop on Batman?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's his power.
I guess because Batman is just so enthralled, he's probably just reading it. He's like, oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm gonna blow the lid off this thing. Wait.
Bonk.
Sorry, I'm such a UFO nerd.
Yeah. So Batman has been waylaid by Tyzon. Stain introduces himself. He's like, hello, I'm clearly Grant Morrison, but no, don't worry about that. And he's like, you've murdered Gotham scientists. And he's like, oh yeah, no. Well, actually, as it turns out, Sally did kill them. But thanks to the implant that I put in him when he used to work here,
Right.
and I made him do it. So
Sally used
really-
to work there?
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe that's why he has psychic powers.
right?
Where do you think he got his psychic powers?
Where do you think I got my drugs? Since I am an evil scientist, obviously what I do is experimentation. So let's do some on you. So meanwhile, Sally is trying to get Hal to forgive him for literally psychically murdering her father.
Yeah.
That's not working out very well.
You don't say.
Meanwhile,
Who cares if it's working out well?
I know.
It doesn't matter.
Dr. Stain gives Batman the tour. He's showing there are people here that are civilians that we've wiped the minds of.
Right.
Stain's research is, we're for the government, by the way.
Right.
We need to be able to figure out a way to wipe people's minds and then project new information to them so they can do stuff
Make
for
them
us.
super spies or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
He didn't even say spies. It's just so that we could make sure we could do it.
Yeah, so they can
We saw Men in Black, and we want the Mind Wiper.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's more evil than that. We also want to like make like assassins and stuff.
Yes.
We want to make Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Well, yeah, how are we going
And-
to make money off of it otherwise?
When we can't just wipe some parts of the memory. We're pulling out everything that they are and making like a husk and then
Right.
putting new shit in there.
And we're just fucking around. Like that one thinks he's a tomato. You know, like we're putting crazy stuff in there.
Exactly. What would a tomato do with a body and sentience?
Pour pepper on itself and turn back into a teenage girl?
You referencing Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
What?
Nice. That's a deep cut. So let me go back to chapter 1 because we
What?
misprinted it for some reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are we at chapter 1?
Whoops.
Whoops. Don't you mean 4? And but chapter 4 or 1 is Mind Wars.
Oh man, Mind Wars.
I guess there is a mind war. So anyway, they strap Batman into a machine. So Stain explains his manifesto, which is like, I had a dream. And I'm like, don't.
Let me stop you right there. I don't care.
But like, look at him. He is Grant Morrison. He's doing a little kooky
Yep.
hand gesture, like,
Yep.
oh, I love the magic of comic books. But anyway, he's talking about he had a dream of no wars, and if my psychic blah blah blahs can flabbity flu, then yada yada yada. You know, who gives a shit?
What?
Yeah.
How is that going
Imagine
to
all
stop
the people-
wars?
Yes, imagine all the people.
Right. Well, if I wipe everyone's mind, then they won't have any reason to fight
Yeah.
or something.
Right. And and they'll only listen to like one authority, you know, it's like,
Which is me.
which of course will be
Right.
me. He goes, look, I don't really care about your secret identity, but it's a great tool we can use to manipulate you. So we're going to strap you to this big, complicated-looking machine, and we're going to like subject you to mind torture, whatever that means. And
I believe that's called electroshock.
yeah, no, you'd think. Well, I mean, like any form of torture is technically mind torture, but like this is more specifically on the psychic.
But it won't
plane or
leave any physical impact
yeah.
on you.
So essentially, when you are done with the torture, you'll voluntarily tell us who you really are. That'll be how we know that it worked. Because you would never want to tell us. If I found out who you were, then I have nothing. I don't have anything over you. So you know.
You want to know who I am?
Okay.
I'm kicking your ass.
We see that Batman has created, just on the fly, a kind of like psychic barrier between those who wish to plumb the depths of his mind of secrets, and you know.
It's like Inception.
It is. So he's
I
created
was
like
going to say it's like Sherlock Holmes, where he has a mind castle.
what? Is that in that movie?
Not that one. I think it's in the TV show.
Oh, Sherlock.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's got a library of places like that where he keeps information.
Oh.
and he
That's a real
walks around
thing.
Different things. That's a memorization technique.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he has a mental.
I thought
This
you were
is a
gonna use-
barrier.
I thought you were
This
going to
is
use a more.
This is the opposite.
Yeah, a more Dreamcatcher. They also have that. They have the library.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can see he's got this cool castle, which I love.
How do you know whose it is?
Seemingly, this like castle wall is the barrier between Batman's secrets and not his secrets, and the like attempt to get him to share his secrets is represented through scorpions. Just a bunch of scorpions.
Just
Well,
a
yeah,
bunch
those
of
are all
scorpions.
the little stains on his body.
I guess that's true, right? And like, is Dr. Stain like a reference to like the the blotching? Like, I don't. It's weird.
Everything's weird. Why scorpions?
Why scorpions? But Batman.
Scorpions are the natural enemy of bats. Oh wait, no, they're not.
No, they're not. So Batman is just a giant bat who's like eating or killing the scorpions, like swooping in and just getting rid of the scorpions. But there's so many scorpions.
There's too many of them.
Batman being, or maybe Batman's psychic defenses being a giant bat that fights scorpions. Okay.
Okay, now it is Inception because if he has psychic defenses,
Yeah.
automatically in
The
place.
train comes through and just runs over a bunch of the scorpions.
Yeah.
Boom.
No, it's a giant buggy,
Yeah.
a desert buggy.
So Hal is talking to Selly, and Selly is like, so Hal's talking to Selly about how like Batman's been captured. He's probably gonna die.
How do they know this?
Well, because like they saw him like get led through. Batman was given the grand tour by Tyson and whatnot. But she's like, oh no. So Hal notices that they haven't been freed by Batman in a while. So she's like, he must have been captured.
He said he was going to free us.
Been 2 days. I don't think he's
I feel like
coming
he's not
back.
coming back. We have to do something to help him. And so Sally's like, well, I'll use my psychic powers to find him. She's like, won't that hurt you? And he's like, what do you care? You hate me and stuff.
Oh my god.
So he does project himself out there, much to his own personal harm, but we don't really see that represented. And so we see that, like,
that's his painful face right there.
it is like, oh.
Oh.
Right, but is it initially painful? Is it prolonged?
Right.
Doesn't matter. So he appears as some kind of like golden god before Batman. He's like, hey, what's up, Batman? And so he's got his plan.
Hey, I see you're trying to defend your keep. Would you like some help?
So Batman is like, okay, I yield. I'll tell you who I am. And Stane's like, oh, that's great. And so Tyson takes him out, and he whips off his mask, and he's Hal, the girl.
Huh.
And Stane's like, what? They switched places somehow. Even though I've literally been here the entire time and strapped Batman in here myself. Quick, Tyson, go down to the area where we kept Hal and Selly and investigate. Meanwhile, I will deal with Batman, and then Batman puts his mask back on, and then he just bitch slaps Stain in the face, and he's like, eat it. Meanwhile, Tyson's like, hey, Stain, like, everybody's still here. And because, of course, like, Selly was able to project
Hal's face.
Hal's face over him.
Electric shocks.
So then Batman characteristically grabs Stain as like a fucking human shield. And he's like, all right, nobody freaking move. I'm walking out of here.
I'll fucking waste him. I'll fucking waste him.
Stain's like, don't care about me, you fools. Just attack him. Just rush him. So Batman's like, yeah. And he just shoves Stain at Tyson and then swoops in,
call my bluff.
like kicks him in the face.
Nice.
And then just it gets waylaid by Tyson, and Batman's like, quick, Selly, use your powers! And so Selly like projects a demon who just fights Tyson, and Batman's like, great. So then he beats the shit out of like the orderlies nearby, and he's like, let's go. Like, while Tyson fights that demon you made, we'll just leave.
Is he actually being beaten up by a demon, or is it just in his head?
Right.
Because when Batman fought the gorilla, Batman was sure his arm was broken, but it wasn't. So like, I think all the damage he's suffering is in his mind, and it's making him think it's real, but it's not like the Matrix where it makes it real.
Right. The pain is real, the injuries are not.
Exactly.
Right. And then once it goes away, then even the pain's not real.
Exactly. So Batman activates the like temporary Batmobile, and then they just truck it like through. They're just leaving. They're just running through the facility, and they make it topside. Like, all right, we are leaving. And so they're just pushing people out of the way as they try to make it to their car. And I'm like, this is the least dignified escape Batman's ever committed. Like, you're leaving Area 51, right? Like, the government is going to be like, all right, so Batman infiltrated a secret government facility, stole untold secrets, knows about our evil psychic programs.
Yep.
Let's just like carpet bomb Gotham until they give up Batman.
No, we dare not attack Gotham.
Right. Why?
Because of all the crazies.
But they're not our problem.
They'll become your problem.
So Batman like gets in the car, Tyson chases after them. Batman, he jumps onto the hood of the car, and he's like, ah! So Batman activates the defenses, which just electrocute Tyson. He gets thrown off. Batman is in pursuit by like...
Oh my god. Those are Apache helicopters.
Yeah. And Apache helicopters. Batman's like,
missiles and stuff.
Okay, we are F. They're firing missiles at them.
Oh, the army is just trying to kill me now.
Yes! Oops!
I'm like an enemy of the state.
What a stupid mission this was. So then these guys who were chasing him realize that like Batman had another EMP, which he left behind.
Oops.
So he activates it, which knocks out everybody and downs those helicopters, I guess murdering all these people.
Oh, no, don't worry. You can see inside. They're just
like,
they're sitting there.
I have a very minor and not long-term head injury.
Good thing the fuel tank didn't explode and all these weapons pylons didn't go off.
Yeah, these things are clearly
I'd be
packaged.
completely dead, and Batman wouldn't have been able to stop it from happening.
Nope. So Hal
They're in the military. They know what they signed up for.
Exactly. It's like killing robots. Hal is like, hey, listen, like, Sally, that was super brave what you did, but I'll also never forgive you for killing my dad. And so that's sad. And then she turns to Batman. She's like, oh, by the way, Batman, while you were in there, did you see any aliens? And Batman's like, I very much doubt it.
What does that mean? What do you mean you doubt it? You either did or you didn't.
Well, like, I saw what they wanted me to see, even though I
Was
saw
that an alien?
Like, whatever. So Batman leaves.
Wait, so does she not understand what happened?
No, it's like she's an idiot.
It's like, no, man, what?
No, Selly was forced to kill your dad via telepathy. It had nothing to do with aliens at all.
Also, was it Selly or was it Stain?
It was Stain using Selly.
Yeah,
Selly
Stain
is
via Sully.
Yes.
I just assumed that Stain was psychically telling people to do that stuff.
Yeah, no, Stain was using implants that he put in people to make them do stuff like that.
And in the case of
Selly
he
actually has
has psychic powers.
Yeah.
So he could do more than just like make him stab himself. He could also make him like kill people.
Right.
Right. How did the implants work? Was it voice activated?
Yeah, it's
just like, okay, now stab yourself in the hand.
They don't really explain it. You know, they show him kind of just telling people to do things.
The antennas.
The antennas.
He was broadcasting it into his brain or into the chip.
Yeah. Or on the radio. He's just listening to stuff. It's post-hypnotic.
Probably it's a code word. You know, he turns on the radio and there's a sequence of numbers that activates him.
Yeah.
And today's lottery numbers are...
There you go.
And it's the sequence that kills each and every one of those scientists.
It's definitely playing on the like sleeper agent concept where there's these like people who can be controlled by, you know, secret signals.
Messaging.
Yeah.
And who will go and assassinate world leaders and stuff, and they won't remember that they did it or whatever, you know.
Exactly. So Batman just leaks all the information he gleaned from Area 51 that he downloaded. Mm-hmm. It seems that he was mostly interested in getting the information, particularly about Dr. Stane.
Right.
Though I wonder if he revealed all the Mars and...
right, the face on Mars
I think it was only the Stane research.
But
he disseminated it to a senator, 3 agency chiefs, and a senior aide of the White House. And no one believes it. And the spin, facilitated by the government...
No one believes it? What? But you're Batman.
Yeah, well, but he
didn't like deliver it.
He didn't hand it to them. He was like, no, that information like appeared on their desk.
No, I leaked it.
Yeah, and that's totally like believable.
Verifiable.
Like, as a senator, I would definitely be like, what?
Yeah.
A secret trove of information? That's definitely real.
Right. But we see the only like closure we get on it is that like the news reports on like rumors of a military-sponsored mind slave program, and that apparently like a Defense Department spokesman says an official has been reprimanded and a junior employee has been fired. That's it. And Batman is like,
why? Fired for what? What?
Right, like well, because of
the end.
Don't worry about it.
Security breach.
Yeah. I'm sure many people were fired.
Yeah, out of a cannon into a wall. But like, Batman then is like, what kind of society have we created where government experiments on its own people? Dreamland? More like a nightmare.
Alan.
And I'm like, that was it.
You son of a bitch.
He was probably chatting with somebody, probably Norm Brayfogle. They were like, oh man, did you know that Area 51 is called Dreamland? Dreamland? More like a nightmare? Holy shit.
Whoa, wait, what did you just say?
Aliens, that sounds like my nightmare.
I think you just got a sequel to The Abduction. A
dreamland to some.
A nightmare to others. Yeah. And then there's a big old lie on the back of this book. One is the world's greatest crime fighter. All right, yeah, that's true. The other is the world's greatest trickster.
Nope.
You mean the Riddler? You mean the trickster?
Right.
Who do you mean?
No, the kook.
No, remember the kook?
We weren't gonna call him the kook though.
Right.
It's Dr. Seeley or whatever.
Yeah, Selly.
Selly.
Together they venture into a place of terrible secrets, hoping to save the world from a plague of madness.
And don't forget hell!
Yeah, first of all, no, they don't.
No, they don't.
They don't do that together. And there is no plague of madness. Like, there's no...
Nope.
There is a plan to use mind control on the citizenry
on like 8 people.
But like, it's
well, I guess maybe
time.
on more, yeah.
He does... No,
does he have a delivery mechanism for how he's going to get the whole world?
I got to get him down
chips?
here first, and then I'll do the thing.
Okay, well, by my estimates, that'll take you about 8 trillion years.
No, you see it's going to be edible. We're going to put it in breakfast
cereal. Right,
cereal.
it's going to go in the food. I'm trying to miniaturize it. It's the size of a grain of rice.
Oh.
Or I'll just release it through airplanes with the chemtrails.
Yeah, maybe they already have.
Or maybe they saw the X-Files movie and they're going to use bees.
Bees. At least then someone would have used that plot. Batman Dreamland is probably in some collection that's in the comments down below. It's the sequel to The Abduction. There's no more.
That's it.
After this. It's really sad, though, that this is the last collaboration between this like classic duo that has given you incredible stories, including like the beginning arc of Shadow of the Bat, like, and also this. Dreamland. Damn it.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of research on it. Like, I was looking up like Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle interviews, and like all I could find was like lamentations that after 2000, DC stopped taking calls or pitches from both Norm Brayfogle and Alan Grant. And I don't know if it's because maybe they squandered the opportunity with this. I think it was more like in the year 2000, they were like, we want to leave the 90s behind. We want to leave like all the teams we worked with behind.
Why not both?
I'm like, why not? They're proven value.
Yeah, but they also wrote this. They're also like
Right, but,
conspiracy
that's
nuts.
That's what, well, maybe, yeah. I mean, the fact that there are two of them says to me that, like,
And the way it ends, where Batman's like, I can't believe it. They're just gonna bury it under layers of bureaucracy. I'm like, this is not Batman.
No.
This is just you.
That's just the end of that's the end of every episode of X-Files. Can you believe it? Yeah.
Of course I can.
Yeah.
It's the government.
I believe it every day.
They will do it again, Mulder. They do it every time.
And we work for them.
Right.
Yep.
Damn it. So, I mean, there it is.
Well, there you have it.
What a disappointment. At least the abduction was insane.
It was ridiculous.
So it's like, what am I reading? This is crazy. This
Bruce
is just
Lee's in it.
Right. This is just like by the numbers.
Yep.
I've seen it before. I don't care.
I know.
It's
so
not
disappointing.
interesting. It's like less like upsetting in that it's so ordinary.
Yeah.
But it's also less memorable for that reason.
It's very perfunctory.
And there's no like final standoff between Selly and Dr. Stain, which
No.
there should have been.
No.
And by the way, the kook is still on the table. You could use him.
Right.
They just haven't for 23
forget.
years.
Yeah.
But don't worry, if we bring back the Kook, we also have to bring back Hal.
No, they don't.
The unrequited love.
Yeah, that's if there is one. But they don't have to do that. Nobody
love
cares.
you.
Shouldn't do anything.
We've
I hate
fallen
you.
together, fallen in love together over so many years, but I can still never forgive you.
Right. I appreciate. No.
Nothing.
I appreciate the logo. It's just like weird.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
what?
It's like its own thing.
Yeah. Like it's consistent.
Yeah.
But like why? And I love that it took 2 years to do one. And it makes me sad though that like they didn't take any pitches. I mean like Brayfogle kept pitching things and they rejected them. Alan Grant kept pitching things and they rejected them. But then they would call Alan Grant, ask for pitches, and then reject them. He suspected it's actually.
Stop pitching the next Batman abduction.
No, we're not doing another one.
Okay.
We're not doing Batman Bigfoot, okay? It's not gonna happen.
Okay, how about a story where Batman
Yeah.
goes to Area 51?
No, we did that already.
Okay, a story where Batman goes to Texas and there's cows and they're being taken up into spaceships.
No more aliens.
Okay, Batman
okay,
goes
okay.
to Scotland and he goes to this
lake.
cute little lakeside community by Loch Ness.
Yeah.
And there's a monster.
Okay.
And it's under the surface of the water. And you there's a few grainy photos. And the government covers it up.
Oh, yeah.
and-
What do you call it? Do you call it Batman Loch Ness? Do you call it Batman Nessie? Do you call it Batman Monsters? Like, what do you call it? Like, it's.
Well, these are called
Batman Under the Surface.
Under the Surface.
I'm trying to think if there's any other nicknames for Nessie. I want there to be a sequel to this, but like, I know no one will buy it.
No, what would it be?
Well, and both of the main creative team is no longer with us, so like we'll never get a true sequel to it. I
Here's
only
the
want it
thing.
because we've talked about it. We've just like we did it. We did both these stupid,
I
terrible.
want to know what
Batman
happens to the kook.
stories. We gotta have closure.
We
on
need
it.
closure because he says like I'm just worried that he'll still be able to control me, and Batman's like, don't worry, once the media finds out, blah blah blah, and it's like
They don't.
They don't. Oh, so like he still could control.
Oh yeah, no. Like Stain never goes to justice.
Nope.
Like, does Stain
Right.
is Stain one of the people who gets fired? And even if he is, oh no, he's fired.
Well, also
what
it's
kind
like
of- what
a
kind of
government
great revenge is
program.
that?
Anybody could keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. Like Batman did nothing. The only thing that Batman did was put a target on his back by the U.S. government. That's
Yep.
all that happens in that story.
Yes.
He almost dies in Nevada.
Very upsetting.
It's really silly.
He
Yeah, but now
accomplishes
he's not allowed
nothing.
to come back.
He better not.
He at least saves people in the abduction.
That's true.
He kind of maybe thwarts the plan to like control the whole population, except not really.
Yeah. No, because he didn't stop the epicenter of it. They're
Right.
still doing those programs. The guy who's in charge is still in charge.
Right. Yeah, no, he didn't stop it at all.
I love the idea that there's just theater, just fake the whole time, because he even says it might be.
Yep.
It's a dis-
But except it doesn't make any sense.
but like, why would they?
That
do
would be done in a studio. You're in Area 51. They wouldn't be doing.
Who is it for?
Maybe it's for the doctors themselves.
They're like, no, yeah, we want you to do actual useful research, but we want you to be discredited immediately. So we expose you to alien nonsense, so that when you say all the things that you're working on and all the things that you're near,
You'll
no
mention
one will
the
believe in any
aliens.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they also apparently did alien autopsies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust him.
I wouldn't trust him on that like hand-stabbing mind control thing he's also a part of.
That is
Diabolical.
diabolical.
It's true.
Huh.
That I buy. Like, maybe Batman's like, no, this isn't for me. It's for the employees of Area 51.
Right. That's why there's a convenient, like, giant man-sized vent that goes right over the alien abduction. Because at some point, every employee climbs into that vent system and sees that there's alien stuff going on. And is like,
oh,
it's true.
I knew it.
I knew this was going on here, right under my nose.
Yeah.
I thought I was just here for secret, unethical experiments on people, but actually...
There's also little green men. Or pink, in this case, for some reason. Like, you didn't even consistently draw them. They don't even look like the aliens you wanted them to look like in the first one.
Well, they don't have to be. They're dead.
Well, there's
They can be
multiple
any color we
species of
want.
aliens, Sal.
Oh, that's true, yeah. There's the blues, the grays, I know. Batman Dreamland. People asked for it. When we did the abduction, people were like, when are you going to do Dreamland, the sequel? And I'm like, I mean, never. Never say never.
From those comments, I was hopeful that it was like crazy, and it's not.
It has a more ridiculous name. It
Yeah.
should be like insane. The most insane thing is that Batman already has a previously established nightmare plane, including a themed castle, like it's at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And he himself turns into a giant bat that eats evil scorpions that represent, bad people that are trying to steal his thoughts.
Well, sometimes it's not just scorpions. Sometimes, it's ants, or
right.
spiders.
Depending on what level of threat they are.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they are really trying to dig into some core stuff like my secret identity. So if they're going to be scorpions, but like someone's digging in my mind to get like, my AOL password, then they're going to be ants, like fire ants, but still easier to kill.
Or like pandas.
Just rolling around. It's insane. See you next week. I'm Sal.
I mean, then.
Ben.
Sorry.
You should be.
Good old Batman in Dreamland. Damn.
I heard that too.
Yeah, immediately. Every time I said it, I was like, just thinking about him.
God damn.
Sucks so much.
God damn.
I can't believe there's great street signs like, the Ale Inn.
I know, yeah, which is a real place that you could stay in, and it's not represented at all in this book.
Yeah.
It's just on the cover.
It's just bullshit.
Yeah, it could be something fun.
Here's all the stuff associated with Area 51.
But why? Like, what is the message? Or what is the intent behind your book? Like,
to get people who believe in aliens to read it.
What?